Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back and watching another video. For those of you that are new to my channel, my name is Holly and I am registered as blind. Today's video is a disability related video. I was asked by the lovely Emily Davison from the blog and YouTube channel Fashioneyesta to share some of my inaccessibility horror stories. Emily did a video on this and put it up a couple of days before Halloween. Unfortunately, I didn't have the chance to film before Halloween, but this is something that people face all year round, so I thought that it was still fine for me to upload it after Halloween, a considerable amount of time after, may I add. I'm really sorry. But yeah, like I said, this is something that happens all year round. For those of you that don't know what inaccessibility is, inaccessibility basically means when an establishment, a service or a resource isn't made accessible. For example, you may visit a restaurant and it's inaccessible, or you may go on a website and you can't access it with a screen reader. Inaccessibility affects many people. It affects people from ethnic minorities, but you may often hear disabled people talking about inaccessibility because inaccessibility affects us disabled people on a daily basis. We may talk about it in regards to not accessing materials, transport, or anything like that. Inaccessibility can play such a huge part in a person's life. It can affect their work, their education, their independence, and basically for them to take part in daily life and activities just like everyone else. So today I thought I would share some of my inaccessibility horror stories for you. The first one is when booking passenger assistance on trains, it doesn't turn up. This happens more often than not for me. So I travel regularly to meet friends, to go to events and things like that really. So basically 99% of the times I travel on my own, passenger assistance doesn't turn up. This is something that I book in advance, so there is no reason for station staff to not communicate with each other and get the assistance right. I really do hope that in the future this can be made more accessible, because more often than not I'm travelling by myself with a suitcase and I use a cane, so I therefore have to get myself off the train both with my cane and a suitcase if I'm staying overnight somewhere. This isn't an easy task to do. I then have to find a member of staff at the station in order to help me get out of the station, to meet a friend, get a taxi or whatever. And when you have no useful vision, this is extremely difficult. Following on from this, another inaccessibility horror story that I face is being dragged off trains. Now, what should happen is station staff should come and assist disabled people off trains. One time, a guard met me at the door and instead of properly sighted guiding me, he basically dragged me off the train. Now this can cause disabled people to feel uncomfortable, and what if I'd have fallen over, and this just isn't fair. Another transport related one is the lack of audio announcements on buses and trains. Where I live, we don't yet have talking announcements on buses, so I therefore have to ask the driver to tell me which stop I'm getting off at, or I have to rely on GPS apps. Talking buses would make things so much easier. Most trains do have audio announcements, however there is sometimes times where I get on the train and it doesn't have audio announcements. I can obviously usually tell the timings for when I need to get off, but if something occurs then that kind of goes out the window and doesn't happen, and I may not know where I am. This can have serious consequences. One of the other inaccessibility issues that I face is not being given materials in a format that is accessible to me. At school, I often used to get handed printed materials. Now, as a blind person with no useful vision, a screen reader user and a Braille reader, printed materials are no good to me. This can make a person feel extremely uncomfortable. It can be quite demoralising, to be honest. It always used to really frustrate me when teachers used to hand me printed materials because it's no use and they clearly haven't taken the time to give my teaching assistants the materials that I needed for them to adapt. Now, this is just thoughtlessness, really. Now, I'm lucky in a sense that when I was at university, this rarely happened, but I know people that it does happen to, and it's really not hard to make materials accessible. Following on from this, when I sometimes receive materials electronically, they aren't always accessible, so they may have text boxes, images that aren't labelled, so my screen reader can't read these to me. I then either have to tell the person that sent me it that it's not accessible, or I have to make it accessible myself, which is extremely time consuming. Another inaccessibility issue, which often affects disabled people, and especially those with a visual impairment, is the lack of Braille signs and labels in places. You can often visit an establishment where there's no Braille labels on toilets, no Braille signs, or in lifts or anything like that. So we often have to rely on sighted people to tell us where we're going. Now, it's really not hard for people to get Braille labels because you get print, so why can't you get other formats as well? Talking of establishments, another issue is when disabled toilets are out of order. If the regular toilets were out of order, then people would most certainly complain, but what gives establishments the right to kind of leave disabled toilets out of order for a long time? This isn't fair on disabled people, and disabled people want to use toilets like everyone else. The next few that I thought I would discuss are concert and theatre related. I love going to concerts, and I especially enjoy seeing some of my favourite bands and artists live. I want to experience this like everyone else. Even though I have a visual impairment, I still want to enjoy concerts like sighted people. I've had two experiences in the last year where I have been unable to get VIP tickets for two of my favourite artists. Last year, I was unable to meet my favourite artist, Jessie J, because me and a friend got disabled access tickets, and then she announced VIP upgrades a few days before the show. I inquired to the venue about if we were able to upgrade our tickets. They didn't know, so told me to contact the promoters. I did. The promoters didn't know either, so said that they would contact management, who didn't get back to them. I also emailed the management and they didn't get back to me either. In this time, all of the VIP packages had sold out. Therefore, I missed the chance on meeting my favourite artist, and I was denied the opportunity because I had disabled access tickets. I think that it's disgraceful that procedures aren't put in place for disabled fans. I had a similar experience when getting VIP tickets for myself and another blind friend earlier on this year. I did manage to get these, but it was a month of solid stress. Another issue I regularly face is when venues don't offer a free or discounted companion ticket. As I'm blind, I need a sighted person to go with me, or I need some sort of sighted assistance. I need guiding because I go to unfamiliar venues. I can't memorise the whole venue, and I certainly can't see my seat numbers or anything like that. When venues don't offer discounted or free companion tickets, it can make it very expensive for me, which really puts me off going. Why shouldn't these be put in place for disabled fans? Also, when access information isn't put online. It's really simple to put accessibility information online for disabled fans, but I regularly visit concert venue websites where this information isn't displayed on their website. That means that I either have to contact them via email, social media, or call them. And often I don't get a response, meaning that I either risk buying the tickets or I miss out going to the show. It would be so much easier if information was displayed on the website. When attending theatre performances, I often like to get audio description. This basically is a narration of the show and what's going on, so that I can experience it like sighted people. However, audio description is often limited to 1 or 2 shows, and I can't always attend these shows, so I either have to go and experience the show without audio description or just don't go at all. I wish there was more flexibility in this. Another inaccessibility issue that I face on a regular basis is when a website or app isn't accessible. I probably face this on a daily or weekly basis. When downloading an app, I sometimes have to pay for it. So I see an app that intrigues me or something that my friends tell me about, I want to download it and give it a go for myself. I often come across a barrier where it isn't accessible with VoiceOver on my iPhone. Therefore I can't use it and I've wasted money on buying the app. Websites are often the same. I experience issues with this, such as buttons and links not being labelled, having no image descriptions or alt text, not being able to just navigate the website freely and independently like everyone else. It's so important to make apps and websites accessible, and accessibility shouldn't be an afterthought. Following on from this, when I look at clothes online, all my friends buy clothes online and I want to do this just like them. I want to be able to buy clothes online just like sighted people. However, online clothes shops don't always have descriptions of clothes on their website, meaning that I have to get a sighted person to check and describe to me what it's like, because I have no idea because I can't see images. If they had descriptions of the clothes, then I wouldn't have to do this and I could shop online freely and independently just like my sighted friends. Another inaccessibility story is when books aren't available as ebooks or audiobooks and they aren't released on the same publishing date as the printed book. When they aren't released on the same release date, I miss out because I'm unable to access an accessible copy of the book. When out and about with my cane, I often rely on tactile paving to know when I'm coming to a crossing, a set of steps and things like that. When places don't have tactile paving, it can often be a shock and my cane could just go down a curb and I may not realise at first, and it can just be a bit of a shock. Tactile paving is really helpful because it helps you know what's coming up. It tells you whether you're coming up to a crossing, a set of steps, a curb or things like that. It also just makes you travel more confidently and independently. Those are just a few of my inaccessibility horror stories. There are way more that I could discuss, but we'd be here all day. Thank you so much to Emily for asking me to take part in this and share some of my inaccessibility horror stories. I really enjoyed taking part and sharing them with you. I hope that this helps to raise awareness. If you would like to share some of your inaccessibility horror stories, then feel free to leave them in the comments. If you would like to, I'd love to read them. You can also share them on social media using the hashtag #inaccessibilityhorrorstories, where I'm sure Emily and I will check them out. I'm sure Emily would love to read them as well. If you would like to, then feel free to make your own video or blog post on this. I'd definitely love to check it out. By raising awareness of the inaccessibility issues that we face as disabled people, I hope that we can make a change and strive for a more accessible world in the future. Make sure you head over and check Emily's channel out, as it's great. She's got some brilliant content on there. I'll leave a link in the description. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I would love to read some of your own inaccessibility horror stories if you'd like to share them. Please give this video a huge thumbs up, and please do subscribe to my channel. There are a lot of you watching my videos that aren't actually subscribed, so please do subscribe. It would really mean a lot to me. You can also hit the bell button, which is down below somewhere, so you'll receive notifications whenever I upload a new video. If you have any future video suggestions that you'd like me to do, then please do let me know. You can contact me, my links are in the description, or you can leave them in the comments. I really want to create videos that you'll enjoy. I'll be back soon with another video. Bye guys!